Hello, young minds of class 6 students. I am your computer digital mentor, and today we are going to start some very interesting chapters of computer. So, let's start with our first chapter, that is chapter number 1, more about computers. In this topic, we are going to learn about some very interesting topics of computer. So, let's get started with learning outcomes. After you have studied this lesson, you will be able to first history and generation of computers. Second, classification and functional components of computers. Use different type of computer software. So students, let's start. A computer is an electronic device that works on the principle of input process output, that is IPO cycle. It receives inputs from the user, stores it in its memory, processes it with the help of its processing device, and gives us the required output. Due to its wonder characteristics, computers are used at many places. But do you know the history of computers? Let us learn about its history. So now students, we are going to learn about the history of computer. So let's start. A few calculating devices used prior to the development of computers are discussed here. First is abacus. Abacus is the calculating machine, was developed in China. It is used to count numbers and perform simple calculations such as addition and subtraction. Here you can see the picture of abacus. Next is Napier's bones. Napier's bones was developed by Sir John Napier in 1660. The device was used to perform calculation involving addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. It was named so as the number were curved on bones or stripes of wood. Here you can see the picture of Napier's bones. Now next we have Pascaline. Pascaline, one of the first mechanical calculator, was invented by Blaise Pascal in 1641. Though it could perform only subtraction and addition, yet it became very popular. Here you can see the Pascaline. Now our next topic is generations of computers. A generation is a distinct stage in which there was a great change in technology used. The generation of computers can be divided into 5 categories. Here are some 5 categories of computer. Here you can see the first generation, then parts used, then properties, and then example. So students, you have to go through this table and learn them very carefully. Now students, do you know? Microprocessors were developed using the very large scale integration, that is VLSI, which combined thousands of transistor based circuits into a single chip. Now here we have brain teaser. How a chess game can be played better by a computer using the artificial intelligence. So students, discuss this question with your teacher and your classmates. Now let's jump to our next topic, that is classification of computers. On the basis of their size and speed, computers are generally classified into the following 4 main types. So let's see the first type. Here is first microcomputers, second mini computers, third mainframe computers, and the fourth supercomputers. So students, now let's learn these categories in detail. Let's read first microcomputers. Microcomputers are small computers whose CPU is a microprocessor contained on a single integrated circuit chip. These computers are also called personal computers, that is PCs. The major type of these are desktop, laptop and handheld tablet PCs, smartphones, computers. Here you can see the picture of desktop computer. Now let's read about workstation. A workstation is like a personal computer, but it has a more powerful microprocessor and in general a high quality monitor. Now students, here again we have a did you know? The latest trend in computing is wearable computers. Common computers application like email, multimedia, calendar, scheduler are integrated into watches, cell phones, clothing, belt, backpack, handbag, etc. which have a microprocessor chip embedded into them. Now let's read about mini computers. Mini computers came into existence in 1960s. Those days mainframe computers were very expensive. Mini computers were powerful and available at a reasonable price, so users switched over to them. The mini computers has become less important since the PCs has become so powerful on its own. The present day PC is much more powerful and compact than the mini computers. Mini computers are normally referred to as mid-range server now. Here you can see the picture of a mini computer. Now it's time to read mainframe computers. Mainframe are huge computers that can occupy an entire room or even a whole floor. A mainframe can accommodate many users at a time. Terminals are used to connect a user to this computer. A terminal is a device which has a keyboard and a screen integrated together. By using a terminal, each user can give inputs into the computer and get the output on his or her monitor. The mainframe are normally referred to as enterprise servers. Here you can see the picture of a mainframe computer. Now it's time to read supercomputers. As the name supercomputer specifies, these are the most powerful computer. A supercomputer uses multiple CPUs to work on a problem using the concept of parallel processing. Parallel processing is the simultaneous use of more than one CPU to execute a program. Supercomputers are used for highly calculation intensive tasks such as weather forecasting, climate research like global warming, physical simulation such as simulation of the flying of aeroplanes, nuclear energy research, and petroleum exploration. So students, this is the picture of a supercomputer. Now students, did you know Param Yuva 2nd, which is claimed to be India's fastest supercomputer, has been developed and launched by Center for Development of Advanced Computing, that is CDAC. This new supercomputer is expected to be useful in research lab, in aircraft designing, and in areas like weather forecasting, seismic data analysis, and scientific data processing. Now our next topic is functional components of a computer. The functional components of a computer are first input devices, second central processing unit, and third output devices. So first we use our input device, then central processing unit, that is CPU, and then we have our output. Now students, did you know the input and output devices attached to a computer are called computer peripherals. Now let's read input devices. So students, what are our input devices? Let's read. Data is accepted by a computer through the input devices attached to it. The standard input device is a keyboard. Example of other input devices are joystick, mouse, web camera, magnetic ink, character reader, optical mark reader, optical character reader, light pen, touch screen, smart card reader, digital reader, etc. You have already studied about some of the commonly used input devices in earlier classes. You will learn about a few more here. So let's read. First, barcode reader. It is used by a computer to scan and identify the product or item code. In the supermarkets, bookstores, and many other places, the code for each item, be it the price code, item code, etc., is a unique combination of vertical bars and can be identified by a barcode reader. Here you can see a barcode and it is a barcode reader. Now, did you know QR codes, that is quick response codes, are special barcodes that can be read using QR reading devices mainly installed as an application on smartphones. These codes link the user directly to text, emails or website. Now here we have magnetic ink character reader, that is MICR. It reads the special characters printed using a special magnetic ink on check, etc. Check number, bank code and branch code are printed on checks using magnetic ink, making them difficult to forge The MICR scans this information and are thus capable of sorting checks. Here you can see the picture of a magnetic ink character reader. Now next we have optical mark reader, that is OMR. It is used for recognizing a pre-specified space on a paper that is marked by a pencil or pen. It is commonly used for marking the answer on examination sheets. Here you can see the picture of an OMR sheet. Now again we have a did you know? Every computer contains an internal clock that regulates the rate at which instructions are executed and synchronizes all the different computer components. The CPU requires a fixed number of clock ticks or clock cycle to execute each instruction. The faster the clock ticks, the more instruction the CPU can execute per second. Clock speeds are expressed in megahertz, that is MHz, or gigahertz, that is GHz. Now our next topic is Central Processing Unit. So students, let's read it. The Central Processing Unit, that is CPU, is the control center of a computer. It guides, directs and governs its performance. It is known as the brain of the computer. So students, the CPU is known as the brain of a computer. Now the CPU has three components which are responsible for different functions. These are discussed here. Let's see. First is Arithmetic Logic Unit, that is ALU. The ALU performs all the arithmetic and logical operations within a computer. This part provides the arithmetic and decision-making capability to a computer. Now, next is Control Unit, that is CU. The CU controls and guides the interpretation, flow and manipulation of all data and information. The CU sends control signal until the required operation are done properly by the ALU and memory. Another important function of CU is program execution, that is carrying out all the instructions stored in the program. The control unit even control the flow of data from input device to memory and from memory to output devices. Now, next is memory unit, that is MU. MU is the part of the computer where the data is stored and is accessible to CPU. The various measurement unit of computer memory are given here. First is bit. A bit means a binary digit. That is, there are only two possibilities for each digit, either 0 or 1. A bit is an elementary unit of the memory. A number of bits together when combined in different ways are used for storing data in a computer. Now, second is byte. A group of 8 bits is called a byte. 1 byte is the smallest unit which can represent a meaningful data item or a character in a computer. Memory is generally measured in terms of byte. Third is nibble. A group of 4 bits is called a nibble. Here is a note, you have to read it. You have to learn all the bits in bytes by yourself. Now here we have the computer memory is basically of two types. Now we are going to learn about the memory of computer, and the memory of a computer are of two types. So let's read our first memory. So students, before we read further, here we have a memory unit. You can see this flow chart. Firstly, we have computer memory, then primary memory, and on the other side you can see the secondary memory. In the primary memory we have two parts, that is RAM and ROM, and in secondary memory we have 4 parts, that is optical disk, hard disk, floppy disk and flash drive. So this is a flow chart of a memory unit. Now let's read the parts of a computer memory. First is primary memory. Primary memory is the basic requirement of a computer. It determines the size and number of software that a computer can store. Primary memory stores two types of program, that is system software and application software. You will learn more about them later in this chapter. Moreover, the primary memory limits the amount of data that a computer can process. CPU can use this memory directly while processing information on the basis of volatility of storage of data. Primary memory is classified into volatile RAM and non-volatile, that is ROM. So This is the difference between RAM and ROM. Let's read. First we have RAM and on the other side we have ROM. So let's read. First, RAM stands for random access memory and ROM stands for read-only memory. Let's read second point of RAM. It is a temporary memory and ROM, it is a permanent memory. Third, RAM, it is volatile in nature, that is the information stored in RAM is designed to clear when the computer is not on. And in ROM, it is a non-volatile memory, that is the information stored in ROM is not cleared when the computer is not on. And the fourth point of RAM is it is the main internal storage area that a computer uses to run program and store data. It is also called read-write memory. And in ROM, it is built-in computer memory that can be read by a computer but cannot be modified. It is a memory unit that can only be read form. Now, let's read the second part of the memory, that is secondary memory. Secondary memory is also known as auxiliary memory. It is used for storing data or program on a temporary or on a permanent basis. This secondary memory is available in the form of storage device, for example, hard disk, compact disk, flash drive, etc. The CPU cannot access secondary memory directly while processing information. The data is transferred to the primary memory when required. The computer uses its input and output devices to access data stored in the secondary memory. Here you can see some of the storage devices. Now, here we have a did you know? Cache memory can be used for increasing the capacity of the primary memory and to make the processing faster. So students, now it's time to read our output devices. Output devices are used for getting information from a computer. For example, visual display unit, that is VDU, or monitor is an output device that displays the information on the screen. The information shown on a display device is called soft copy. You can also obtain information from a computer on a physical medium such as paper, transparency film, etc. with the help of a printer. Printed information is called a hard copy. Now let us learn about a few more output devices. Here are some few more output devices. First is liquid crystal display, that is LCD projector. Output from a computer can also be viewed on a large screen or flat surface other than the monitor using an LCD projector. It is used for showing PowerPoint presentation in many organizations. Here you can see an LCD projector. Now next we have plotters. These are the output devices used for making high quality graphics, charts, diagrams, maps, etc. Plotters use an inkjet or ink pens to create the desired output on paper. There are different type of plotters available. The three basic type of plotter are discussed here. So students, we have three types of plotters. First is inkjet plotter. It sprays small droplets of ink into a piece of paper, thereby creating an image. Then we have flatbed plotter. The pen or the inkjet move in horizontal and vertical direction over a fixed horizontal flat surface on which paper is mounted. Then third is drum plotter. It uses a drum revolver or roller to move the paper and the pen or the jets of the ink during the printing process. The paper is placed over the drum, which is then rotated. The pen is moved along the horizontal or vertical direction to print the output. Now here you can see some devices. First here is inkjet plotter, then flatbed plotter, and then lastly drum plotter. Now students, after reading all the types of plotters, here we have computer software. Software is a set of programs that runs a computer system. Computer software is stored and executed with the help of computer hardware. Major categories of software that form part of computer system are discussed here. First is system software. System software is a program that manages and supports the computer resources and operations of a computer system, while it executes various tasks such as processing of data and information, controlling the hardware components, and allowing user to use the application software. In other words, system software is a bridge between computer system, hardware, and the application software. Operating system, that is OS, is an example of system software. System software controls the internal computer operation. It can be further classified into 4 categories. First is operating system. An operating system is a software which acts as an interface between the user and the computer, that is, all computer resources. It is an important component that controls all other components of the computer system. Without an operating system, a computer is of no use. Some of the commonly used operating systems are Windows, Linux, Unix, etc. Then we have compilers. It is a language translator that translates the high-level language program into machine language. It converts the entire program in one go and report all the errors of the program along with their line number at the end. For example, C language has a compiler. The translator program is called the object program or object code. Now we have interpreter. This language processor converts high-level language program into machine language by converting and executing it line by line. If there is any error in any line, the interpreter reports it immediately and program execution cannot resume until it is rectified. However, it is a smaller program than a compiler. For example, BASIC has an interpreter as the translator. Then here we have assembler. It is a language translator that converts a program written in assembly language into machine language. Now let's read application software. Application software is a set of programs necessary to carry out operation for a specified application. These are the programs written by programmers to enable computer to perform a specific task. Various application software and their example are given in the table below. Here you can see the table of various application software and their example. Here you can see first application software. On the other hand, you can see some of their examples. So first software is word processor. Here the example MS Word, WordPerfect, WordStar. Then our next software is presentation tool and the example of this software is MS PowerPoint. Then we have spreadsheet package and the example of this software is MS Excel Lotus 123. Then our next software is database management system and the example of this software is MS Access and Sybase. Then our next software is business software and the example of business software are inventory management, payroll, system financial, accounting, hotel management and etc. Now our next topic is utility software. Utilities are those application programs that assist a computer by performing housekeeping function like backing up disk or scanning, cleaning viruses or arranging information, etc. They ensure the smooth functioning of a computer. Some important utilities are text editor used for creating and editing text files, backup utility that facilitates the backing up of disk, compression utility that facilitates compression of files, disk defragmentation utility that attempts to minimize the fragmentation on the disk, and antivirus software that ensures a virus-free environment. Now students, did you know the open source application software provides the source code along with the X file that user can do the changes in the code to suit their requirement. The substitute of MS Office is OpenOffice. Now students, this is the end of our chapter. So let's read some quick recap. First is some of the early calculating devices are abacus, then Napier bones and Pascaline. तो ये कुछ कैलकुलेटिंग डिवाइसेस है जिनको काफी पहले यूज किया जाता था, जैसे कि अबैकस, नाइपियर बोन्स एंड पैस्कलाइन. देन सेकंड वी हैव फर्स्ट जनरेशन कंप्यूटर वर कैरेक्टराइज्ड बाय द यूज ऑफ वैक्यूम ट्यूब्स. सेकंड, देन नेक्स्ट, second generation computer are marked by the replacement of vacuum tubes with transistors. Next, the third generation computer were marked by the use of integrated circuits. They were based on high level languages. Next, Introduction of microprocessors was the hallmark of fourth generation computers. तो जो computers हम आज के टाइम पे यूज कर रहे हैं वो फोर्थ जनरेशन के लिए एक हॉलमार्क की तरह यूज होते हैं. Next, the fifth generation computer are being developed. They are going to be based on the principles of artificial intelligence and natural language recognition. Next, computers are commonly classified on the basis of their size and speed as microcomputers, mini computers, mainframe computers and supercomputers. तो computers को हम उनकी speed और उनके size की basis पे characterize करते हैं और ये कुछ माइक्रो कंप्यूटर, मिनी कंप्यूटर, मेन फ्रेम कंप्यूटर और सुपर कंप्यूटर कुछ एग्जांपल्स हैं कंप्यूटर की कैटेगरीज के. फंक्शनल कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ अ कंप्यूटर आर इनपुट डिवाइस, सेंट्रल प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट एंड आउटपुट डिवाइसेस. तो ये सारे डिवाइसेस एक कंप्यूटर के कुछ फंक्शनल कंपोनेंट्स हैं. नेक्स्ट, द सीपीयू हैज द कंपोनेंट which are responsible for different function ALU, CU and MU. And lastly, computer software help to run a computer system in a proper way. तो कंप्यूटर के सॉफ्टवेयर कंप्यूटर को एक प्रॉपर वे में यूज करने के लिए हेल्प करते हैं. So students, this is it from this chapter. Soon we are going to learn about many interesting chapters of computer. Till then, revise what we have learned today. Thank you.